Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS Patch Notes news video, guys. Today we got the 5.1.2 patch notes. I was going to do these earlier, but unfortunately had some real life stuff to take care of, and then I wasn't feeling that good, so decided I would hold off on doing them until I was feeling better. So I'm feeling a little bit better today now, not as much, but as best as I can be. So, the Elder Scrolls Online 5.1.2 brings the Imperial City celebration this week for testing, and with it the Imperial City campaign enabled in place of the Yulnakran Cyrodiil campaign. We adjusted several combat abilities with more on the way listed in the known issue sections and fixed a number of bugs in 2 new Scalebreaker dungeons. We've also implemented an additional failsafe for alliance-locked campaigns and more to come. The size of the patch is 348. So 348 megabytes. We're just going to go on down here. I'm going to skim kind of through most of this stuff that's going on with the Imperial City changes. So with the Imperial City campaign update or special event thing, the Imperial City celebration, they are going to be doing the double Telvar stone drops and double chance of getting the Scamp and the Mollog skin. Or not Mollog, but you guys know, the Soul Sherman skin drops are going to be higher, and you're also going to be able to get the event tickets for participating in the event city. And the different things that you got to do is defeat the final boss of either 2 dungeons of the DLC dungeons, Imperial City or White Gold Tower, daily, and you can get 2 event tickets. Slaying a patrolling boss monster within the Imperial City or the sewers, or defeating the Molag Ball. Yeah, that thing. In addition, there's going to be some new rewards, a selection of Imperial and Daedric furnishings, which are going to cost anywhere between 1 to 3 tickets. The Ebon Glow Endric Pet, which is going to be 10 tickets. And then the Stonefire Scamp, which you can earn from slaying Molag Bal, or the Soul Sherman skin, which you can also get from Molag Bal. You can also get it for 10 tickets. So I don't know how I feel about these two, because this is kind of like the main reason why a lot of people went and did this, was to earn the Scamp and the skin. So, known issues in the combat and gameplay. Many item sets or reworked in this update will receive additional balance tweaks in future PTS Patch. The adjustments are intended to better align the sets with power budget standards we've established for item sets, and to allow for more counterplay, particularly with resurrection sets. So this is going to be next week, I'm guessing, because we only have 2 more weeks of patch notes patches, and then because when 5.1.5 happens, that's when it goes live. So next week will be the 5.1.3. That's where these changes will probably hit, and the 5.1.4 will probably get some other tweaks, but not much. And then when it goes 5.1.5 is when it goes live. So Hidden Blade and its morphs will receive some adjustments to how brutality is granted, and Flying Blade will get a targeting responsiveness improvement to activate its special teleport. This change will be in a future PTS patch. Maelstrom's dual wield is currently enabling too much damage with the dot refractor. It will be adjusted to tone down the total weapon and spell damage, but will get some improvements to its usability in a fluid rotation. This change will be in a future PTS patch. This is because a lot of people that were doing tests on PTS were testing dual wield versus the Maelstrom bow with two-handed. So they were using a two-handed on the back bar, Maelstrom on the front bar, and we're pulling within comparable results to that of somebody in the past running Maelstrom and dual wield. So that's that, and in fact better in some cases. So this is a good change. This will bring Maelstrom dual wield down to be on par with other weapons. Soul Splitting Trap currently bypasses. They are going to be making adjustments to the Soul Splitting Trap, because it does apply to multiple targets as an AoE direct damage over time, and it's not supposed to work that way. So sorcerers currently lack the ability they can utilize to heal their allies with supportive powers, such as a heal over time We have some adjustments to the power surge morph of Surge in the future to help grant them such a tool. I honestly can't say how I feel about this. I'll have to see what they're doing with it. But right now, Power Surge is widely used by a lot of people, along with Crit Surge, as a way to heal themselves. So this could be a good change, but it can also be a very negative change to those who like to use Power Surge. And Power Surge is the one that gives you both spell power and weapon power boosts, along with the like Major Sorcery, Major Brutality, along with the heal over time, or heal for each critical hit you do. Alright, so they fixed some template stuff, not worried about that. Elsewhere changes, fixed a thing with Mulemir to not drop any loot during the respective quests. Shut up. I know what that's about. You guys don't need to know. Alright, Scalebreaker changes. So lots of changes here. I'm not going to go over every change. I'm just going to explain my thoughts on some of these changes. I like the changes to Cujo. These are much needed changes because some of that was too overbearing. So some of these changes sound like good changes. I'll have to test and find out. Hopefully I can get Killer Mac and a couple other people on PTS this weekend. Is what I'm hoping, this Friday or Saturday, to get on and we can test this stuff. But it won't be until then. The other one is the Grundwolf Empowered. They did a lot of changes to things. They also adjusted a lot of things between normal and veteran mode. So they're toning down normal mode and beefing up veteran a little bit. So, and also the blood thing, the sanguine heal it thing. They changed a lot of things with that. The layer of Marsalux getting some changes, mainly to the Marsalux Flying, the Azure Blight Kencord, the Marsalux Perched, and then the Grounded. We're going to see some changes there as well. Lots of changes. So you guys can check the link in the description below if you want to read these patch notes for this stuff. There's a lot. So, but the main changes that everybody's mostly concerned about is the combat and gameplay changes and what's coming this week. So Earth and Heart Corrosive Armor, the penetration granted from this ability not only applies to the ability itself, the direct damage attacks or channeled attacks like Flurry. They explain more when we get down into the onslaught changes, why they're doing this. And I'll be honest, it makes sense, but it also makes you kind of wonder, like, what? Like, because it was a very powerful ability, I'll admit that, and a lot of Dragon Knight DPS in the end game were using this advantage of how Corrosive Armor worked in a big way. And it's not, again, this is not a negative. I think this is more of a positive to bring the skill in line with other skills, so it's not so overpowered. Ardent Flame Searing Heat, rank 2, and of this passive now increases the duration of the affected abilities by 4 seconds up from 2. It also increases the damage dealt to by 10% up from 3. So definitely interesting. I'm got to get on PTS. I'm going to get on PTS probably tomorrow to do some of this testing stuff with these changes. But I just wasn't feeling good today, guys. Allergies are killing me. We're going into our monsoon seasons here, where I live in Arizona, and when the monsoon season comes, my allergies go just as crazy as they do when spring and summer hit. So, or spring and fall hit. Alright, Nightblade, Siphoning, Power, Drain Power, the Sap Essence Morph. They increased the healing from this ability by 23.3%. Since it was missing a rank up progression, and so it lost 20% healing, and so they fixed that with this adjustment. Also fixes the issue where casting this ability in rapid succession would decrease the heal by 20% without until it would reach 100% and stop healing you. So Conjure Ward, they increased the shield size limit of this ability and empowered Ward Morph to 50% of your max health from 40%, and Hardened Ward was increased to 60 from 50. This, I don't know how I feel. I've read these already. I actually recorded this video once already, but I wind up going into a little bit more extended version. and I didn't want to do that with you guys. I didn't want to make this video an hour long, but I will say this sounds interesting. I gotta get on PTS and test. Warden changes, Winners Embrace Arctic Wind. This is one that's going to have a lot of people a little bit up in arms, because this was used by a lot of Warden tanks, including myself. They updated the healing from this ability in its morphs to happen faster and be focused more on the initial heal rather than the heal over time. The initial heal now scales off 25% of your max health up from 15. That's going to be nice, while the heal over time scales with off 3% of your max health down from 5%. I think this is gonna hurt this ability being used by a lot of tanks, because it's gonna be really good for a burst heal, but also the loss of healing over time is really gonna be affected. And then the fact that they're changing it from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, that's gonna really put a dampen on some things. But the new changes to the green balance healing seed, budding seeds. This morph now also introduces a heal over time while the area of effect grows. If the ability is consumed early, the heal over time is also consumed. So the way that healing budding seeds works, you would activate it, and if you activate it again, it would do a burst heal. It would just do its heal like right away. Now you can activate it, let the heal over time effect happen, or you can activate it again. So this is kind of a nice trade-off. It gets a heal over time plus that burst. And I think that's what is gonna separate it from the other one. The other one was more used in PvP because of the defile on it. Weapon changes, two-handed, dizzying swing. This morph will now rank up in damage once against rather than stun duration due to an error where ranks 2 to 4 would cause animation errors with the stun and momentum. I'm going to be honest. I'm not happy with the rally momentum change or the other one. I do not like this change at all. I think this is hurting the two-handed weapon a lot, because it was the only tool out there that had this kind of a heal over time, and I think that that's what made it so good. Even though it had one that was being overly used for PvP and one that was being used widely by solo players in PvE. But momentum, this ability in its force no longer grant major evasion for the duration. Instead, they grant minor endurance. Their explanation why is kind of like, what? So the original one was major evasion was meant to grant two-handers a more natural resource of major evasion, a powerful tool that is meant to help stamina-focused characters survive deadly attacks that bypass their primary means of survival. Roll dodge. However, this led to situations where momentum felt too good to pass up and was eclipsing other skills that also grant the bonus. So neither of these ones offer a heal over time now. Rally does a heal at the end of its effect unless you recast it early, which kind of hurts that ability, and then the momentum just does the major evasion. I don't think it has a heal at all. So onslaught. The physical and spell penetration from this ability now only applies to direct damage or channeled attacks like Flurry. They reduce the duration to 12 seconds from 16 seconds, and this is their reasoning why. These changes were done to reduce situations where you could simply stack multiple damage over time effects on an enemy, activate this ability, or corrosive armor, and freely reap the benefits of ignoring the target's mitigation. The power goal of this ability was meant to empower you to smash your opponent to bits, rather than to speed up the process of slowly killing them. Please note that some of the sets haven't received an audit yet to properly flag them as direct damage or damage over time. So this is, honestly, I think that this is the initial change of this stuff was fine. I think this change is definitely going to put a dampen on the onslaught ability and the corrosive armor, and they're just not going to be used by a lot of people. People will still use them, but not in major retrospect like they did before. So restoration, staff grant healing, illustrious healing, increase the healing per tick of this ability by approximately 50% to better distinguish this morph. One focused on resource sustain, the other focused on raw healing potential. I like this change personally. I think this is going to improve the difference between illustrious healing and the it's going to definitely improve the illustrious healing over the healing springs, because healing springs is for resource return along with healing, and this is going to give you an option of, hey, do I want to be a better heal? Do I want to do better heals, or do I want resources? So it's really that idea, and I do like it. I do think that they still need to look at the rapid regeneration or regeneration ability. I think one more should be a single target heal with a fast heal over time, and I think the other one should be a multiple heal, where it heals up to a maximum of 3 targets, including the healer. So the healer and 2 others for a certain amount over time, but a longer period of time. So this way people can choose to use like grand healing, or they could use the regeneration. Either morph would be great. So that way you get those options. Destructive Staff, Flame Clinch, they fixed an issue where the target hit by this ability knocks back would appear to end their stun animation before the stun ended. The ability will no longer rank up in stun duration and will once again rank up in damage per rank, which was causing the desync, and they increased the stun duration to 3 seconds from 1.5. Tri-Focus, they fixed an issue with the area effect damage from using heavy attacks from lightning staffs. This is good. I'm glad they fixed that. And then moving on to armor skills, which they put weapon, I don't know why. But light armor changes on annulment. They increase the shield size of harness magic and to 50% from 40, and dampen magic to 60% from 50. And here is where they explain why. The changes to magic-based damage shields were done to increase the shield strength in situations where the caster is focusing more into increasing their effectiveness by specializing more stats into them, since they now require more magicka to increase the size than they needed in the previous updates. And they need to change that to say more health, because it's based off of your max health. So alright, moving on. Undaunted Necrotic Orb, Energy Orb. So this is the one that does the heal over time, by the way. They increased the healing per tick of this ability by approximately 20%, since the morph only converted functionality without necessarily improving it. This is going to be a good change for that one. And then the combustion and healing combustion synergies. Now you can activate the synergy from the Necrotic Orb multiple times across multiple people. So you just throw one orb and forget about it. Let it run its course, and people can activate it multiple times. That's the idea behind it, and they explain that. I know a lot of people won't be happy with that change, but at least they made a change that made it fit a little bit better into, you know, still being a good usable ability. It's just not going to be overly used. Alright, moving on to item sets and itemization changes. So, disastrously Bloody Mara, they fixed an issue where the health recovery from this consumable would fail to apply. Glyph of Bashing now grants weapon and spell damage to your bash instead of only weapon damage, and they increase the potency of it by 21%. This is going to be really good for those people who do like to play with bashing in their characters. Like, if you put this on a character that's running a Bloodthirsty with a bash, this is going to be really good for them. Especially, I know a lot of progression guilds use interrupters. This might be a good one to use with those interrupters now, to have them run a bash enchant. Because Sword and Shield got some adjustments to how bashing worked, but this also applies to all weapons too. So staff, all those weapons that require you to have a high spell damage when using a staff to bash, now they can take advantage of that. And I do like that, that benefit. I do think this is going to be really good for that. Item set changes. Night and Flame. This item set now has a 10% chance to proc on healing, up from 5%. They also increase the cooldown to 10 seconds from 6 seconds, and fix an issue where this set could critically strike. They also reduce the healing per tick by approximately 27%. Sentinels also got a slight decrease. They reduced the healing per tick from this item set by approximately 5%, and reduced the stamina per tick to 500 from 524. This is fine. I'm not too upset with this change. I think this is going to put this set more in line with other set monsters or other resource sets, which is going to make it still a viable option. 7th Legion got a a change. So this item set can now only be activated from casting an ability that increases your resistances instead of any time your resistances increase. This means things such as passives, potions, or poisons can no longer trigger this effect. So this is definitely going against a lot of the things that people were doing on PTS and figuring out. This is a good change in my opinion, because now the set has some legitimacy to its design, and I really think it needed that. They also fixed an issue where casting Hurricane would proc this set multiple times, and they fixed an issue where health recovery from the set was not properly applying. Here's the one a lot of people are going to be happy with, the Thunderous Volley. This is the Maelstrom Bow. This item set will now retain its bonus if you bar swap before it can first register its damage. Rejoice, as you no longer need to sit around twiddling your thumbs before continuing your rotation. What would happen is when you would swap bars, if you did it too fast in the rotation and damage wasn't applied yet, it wouldn't carry the damage over to the front bar. Now it will carry the damage over. So we should see greater damage, greater damage results when using the bow. But I haven't been on PTS, so I don't know for certain yet. When you enter Alliance Lock campaign, you will now have several warning messages upon entering the campaign, notifying you when the Alliance Lock will occur. So that's a good thing for those who are pretty upset about that change. A lot of this stuff is just minor changes to different things like Witches Festival, it's just fixes. I'm not even worried about a lot of this stuff. Again, like I said, you guys can read through these patch notes yourselves and give your own thoughts and opinions on it. My concern about this update was to see what kind of changes they made to the dungeons, personally. So I did read through these myself, and I saw where they're definitely taking a lot of feedback on these and how they're working. There is a bug though still in the Marselec one. I hope that they get fixed. I don't know which fight it is, but it's the first time you fight Mjolnir. You fight the blue dragon. You fight Marselec. The first time you fight Marselec with Selene, there's a few bugs where it'll reset itself. I don't know what triggers that. If it's the lack of people, like you have to have more than 2 people in there kind of thing, or what. But me and Killer Mech noticed it, and it happened several times while we were playtesting it, to the point where it did it like 10, I think we did it 5 or 10 times. It kept just resetting, and we were just like, you know what, we've had enough, we're done. So, but I hope they get that one fixed. I haven't been back in since to test it, me or Killer Mech, so I'm glad that they are taking into account looking at things as it progresses through the PTS, and they're really focusing on getting things fixed. But they're still trying to. I'm guessing a lot of these changes is they're still wanting to research, or not research, but gather more data a little bit to see how they can make adjustments and changes to them. Is my guess. I don't know. I don't work for the companies, but I'm glad that they are taking the time to fix things before it goes live. That's the benefit here. So, but we got another week before the next patch comes around, and we get to see what other changes they make. So, probably no releases this week, guys, on builds or anything. It'll probably, if anything, next week, because usually the week right before the final patch and then it goes live, they don't do a lot of major changes, so it gives me time to start working on releasing builds and stuff. So expect to start seeing builds coming in next week, hopefully. And I'm going to start, I was going to do bards and monks, but I'm going to hold those off until after the patch is completely done. What I'm going to do next week, if I do release any builds, it's going to be player requested builds and things that people have been asking for. Including some guides to like 1-bar play, so I can get those done and out of the way before I start working on builds themselves. And these are guides. These aren't builds. These aren't 1-bar builds. These are 1-bar guides that will explain how to set up your character for a 1-bar play, whether you're a damage dealer, a tank, a healer. And I've already done basic guides for these, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with them. For you guys, just kind of giving you guys a heads up on what's going on. This week I'm going to be showing some testing stuff of the changes that are happening. So I'm going to show the illustrious healing change. I'm going to show some of these changes in things, and I'm also going to be doing some looks at the Maelstrom bow, because I did do some testing with it, and I was not one of the only people, but many people noticed the issue with Maelstrom. So I'm going to take some looks at that. I'm going to be taking some look at the new siphoning, drain power. I'm probably going to do a Nightblade healer build just so I can test the illustrious healing and the drain power together. And then I'm going to check some of this other stuff out. Not too worried about the dizzying swing or momentum. I really just don't care about those. The onslaught I'll do some testing with. I'll probably test the changes to the shields as well, just so I can get a little bit greater understanding of it. I'm not going to be testing the orbs, because I mean, if they're working as intended with this change, I think this is going to be good for them. And other than that, I just want to see what's coming next week. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I got going on. And I just, like I said, I want to keep you guys up to date with what I'm doing, as well as what the developers are doing. So, but that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you guys know what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. And again, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.